Hey guys, I'm glad you're here. Today's project is this older Weedeater brand string trimmer. It was left outside for some time and the problem now is it won't start. Let's take a good look at this trimmer and find out what's wrong and hopefully fix it. The thing that concerns me the most about this trimmer is how weathered it looks. There's a lot of rust on the shaft and the plastics are very faded due to sun exposure. If it looks like this on the outside, then what will it look like on the inside? Well, it came to us with fuel in the tank, so let's pour it out and take a good look at it. This is going to give us a clue as how the repair might pan out. Well, that's not a really good start. The gas has discolored and is mostly contaminated with a lot of water. I'm going to tell you that this is our first strike against this repair. 2 more and we'll have to consider stopping it completely. Let's remove the air filter cover so we can put some fuel into the carburetor and see if the engine even runs. Well, that's not a really good sight either. There seems to be quite a bit of debris where the filter should be. I'm not sure what it is, but I suspect some of it has got to be rust from the plate behind the air filter housing. Also, remember to squeeze the throttle when pull starting since there's quite a bit of gas in the carburetor throat. If it doesn't start, this is going to be a very short video. And fortunately it did start, but there is one problem though. When squeezing the throttle, you'll notice that the carburetor has a very slow reaction time when closing. Unfortunately, this is going to be strike number 2 against this repair. This indicates that there's something wrong with the carburetor. There's probably quite a bit of corrosion inside the carb, which means that the carb may not be repairable. I'm still going to continue with the repair though. Okay, this is yet another problem, but it's not a final strike. The primer bulb isn't pulling fuel into the carburetor, so there could be a problem with the bulb itself. I'm going to replace just the primer bulb and see if that fixes the problem. Now, you don't have to remove the whole carburetor to do this. You just have to remove the 2 bolts and the retaining plate. Well, the bulb literally broke in half, so it was definitely bad. Simply replace the bulb now and the plate and put everything back together. Let's try to prime the fuel system once again. Well, it looks like we still have a major problem. I guess we'll have to take the carburetor off the engine now and fully inspect it. Okay, so first off, there's a lot of debris on the inlet screen, which also means that there's also a lot of debris on the pump diaphragm itself. That's not a big deal though, as a little bit of carb cleaner will take care of that. And after taking the plate off the metering diaphragm, we can see that it is completely petrified. It's definitely going to need to be replaced. This would also explain why the primer bulb isn't working, because the needle valve wouldn't be open because of the petrified diaphragm. Well, the real problem shows up when we take the diaphragm off the carburetor. There's a lot of rust and debris underneath it. This is strike number 3 against this repair. That means that there is simply too many things wrong with this carburetor to be successful in rebuilding it. Well, this is where we would normally stop and replace the carburetor. But for those who are curious, I am going to show you what happens if you continue with the cleaning process. You want to use a lot of carburetor cleaner to remove all the gummed up gas, rust, and debris that you can get to on the carburetor. The next thing we want to do is put some gas on the inlet screen and then depress the rocker arm on the other side. Now, the gas is supposed to disappear from the screen, but if it doesn't, then you're going to need to remove the rocker arm assembly and clean the passage. You'll also want to remove the screen as well to make sure that it's not clogged. This will also make cleaning the passage a whole lot easier. The next thing you want to do is get a very small thin wire and pass it through where the needle goes. And I tell you, this one was very clogged up. Once everything is cleaned up and poked through, very carefully reassemble the screen and the rocker arm assembly, and then replace the metering diaphragm. And once that's done, replace the top part of the carburetor and reconnect only the fuel filter line on the carburetor. We only want to connect the fuel filter line because we want to see if the return line is actually working, and with the line off we can actually see the gas coming out of the port. Now finally, press the primer bulb a few times and hopefully gas comes out of the other port. And unfortunately it didn't work, and in fact it was really tough to press the bulb. That means that there's got to be a blockage on the top plate of the carburetor where the primer bulb is located. So remove the top plate and clean all the holes you can find with some wire and some carburetor cleaner. Hopefully this fixes the problem. Now replace the top part of the carburetor and connect the fuel filter line again, and check to make sure the fuel system is priming like it should. Hopefully this works. And luckily for us, it is working. So let's put the carburetor back on the engine and try starting it. I'm going to let you know that there was over 15 minutes of manual priming and pull starting before I actually got it to start and run. I have it shortened down to these 2 minutes to save time. And so after all that work, it wouldn't stay running even with all the adjustments I made. It just proves when carbs get this dirty, they simply need to be replaced. So this is my question to you. At what point would you have decided to replace the carburetor versus fixing it? Or would you have given it everything you had before shelling out some money? Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I hope to see you in my next video.